Honourable Speaker, I rise to second this motion for the adoption of the fourth report of the Committee on Appointment on the approval hearings of nominees for appointment as Cabinet Secretaries, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Speaker, as the Majority Leader has alluded to, I sit the committee that is chaired by yourself of appointment and approval, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, through that, I interacted with the nominees, Mr. Speaker, the three cabinet nominees, secretary nominees, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I came to realize that people who go through elective positions, Mr. Speaker, people who are elected by the people of Kenya as MCAs, as members of parliament, as governors, Mr. Speaker, those are people who are really tried and tested. And those are people who really can show leadership when it is required, Mr. Speaker, compared to people who have not held elective positions, Mr. Speaker. And I'm not trying to say that because I've been elected several times. Mr. Speaker, these three nominees have shown immense knowledge. They have shown immense knowledge and experience, Mr. Speaker, in terms of handling public affairs. And why that happened is because some of them ran or managed some of the largest counties in the country, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Lee Kinyanjui was the governor of Nakuru. And Nakuru, Mr. Speaker, is one of the largest counties in the country, even in terms of population. That has given that man a lot of experience from what I saw when he appeared before the committee. Honorable Kabogo also, Mr. Speaker, has managed one of the largest counties. And as you can see, a member here, the Majority Leader, has testified that he has done a good job when he was the governor of that county. Mr. Speaker, that has given them a lot of experience. And the other nominee has been a cabinet secretary. He has been the senator of Nyeri. He has been a cabinet secretary at a very difficult time when this country had a pandemic, the coronavirus, Mr. Speaker, and he handled it very well. And the country saved, through that, a lot of lives were saved, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, that public service has impacted a lot of knowledge and experience on these three gentlemen, Mr. Speaker. I don't think they could have been better people to serve in these ministries than those people, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you see, public service, Mr. Speaker, is a calling, and I've said that many times. And you should be able to do it so long as you've been given an opportunity, Majority Leader. But when you feel a time has come, and you feel that the executive that you are part of, and you feel that the president that you are serving, and the government that you are serving, is not incompatible, the policies or your belief at the moment, at this point in time, is not compatible with the government you are serving, the best thing to do, Mr. Speaker, is to resign. Don't bring commotions. Don't bring unnecessary fights within the government. Be a man enough and say, this is enough now. I don't think, the way you've said, I don't think what is happening now is not what I came to do. For that reason, I want to leave. It's only in African societies or in African democracies where somebody disagrees with the policies, disagrees with what's happening in a government, and he still wants to stay there. To do what? Somebody told me, an African man, if you give him the keys to the washrooms and tell him, can you use it and bring it back to me, he will put it in his pocket and tell you, no, you tell me when you need it is when I'll give you back. Mr. Speaker, only in African societies. Wamumbi, can you give us time? I want the Majority Leader to listen to what I'm saying. So if you no longer believe in what the government is doing and you're a cabinet secretary, just resign. You are not welded there like chuma, like an iron. You are not welded in government. Just leave. You know, the other time when we were impeaching the deputy president, somebody told me that he was asked, why can't you resign now that members of parliament have lost faith in you? A pastor in his home told him that you have been put there by God. You must remain there until you are removed by God. Now God spoke through angels to the members of parliament and they removed him. And God's work happened in this parliament, Mr. Speaker. Somebody told him that you are put there by God. Only God can remove you. Pana. God can remove you in many ways. Impeachment comes from God. Because by the time 300 members of parliament agree on something, it's the hand of God. It's the work of God. It's the voice of God. So, Mr. Speaker, if you don't wait for God to come to your house to talk to you, if you think you cannot serve the government anymore, go do farming. Go do other things, Mr. Speaker. Or become something else. Become a professional. If you're a lawyer, go and open a law firm and serve the country that sphere, Mr. Speaker. Because you cannot be a cabinet secretary who is issuing contrary views to what your government is saying. It's immoral, actually. The other day I saw a good friend of mine, whom I learned a lot of things under him, who was sitting on the chair where Mr. Speaker is sitting, Mr. Speaker. And I learned everything I'm doing in this house under his, Mr. Speaker, under his supervision. And that's not what he taught me when he was a speaker. He told me, Junet, if you are tired of something, leave. But now the same person is now accusing the same people he's serving of many things, and he wants to remain there, and he stay there, Mr. Speaker. It only happens in Africa. It cannot happen. And targeting communities, targeting people of certain, community, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, is very unfair. And I am a leader now in this country. Because I'm a minority leader. That's a constitutional office under Article 108. If my son is arrested by police, I should also tell the country why my son was arrested. I can't just say my son was arrested by so and so. Give the reasons why he was arrested. And then why do you wait for 7 months so that you tell Kenyans why your son was arrested? Why don't you tell them the day he was released that my son was arrested, and then you drop names. You say I went to the president and the president told me that I called so and so. My friend, where is this secrecy of oath? It's called what? Oath of secrecy. Why can't you discuss things at that level with the people who are concerned? Now, if you have the opportunity to go and see the president, to go and see people who are high offices, Kenyans who cannot access those places, how are they going to be served? What kind of, as a leader, what kind of trend are you setting? That anybody who wants to get help must go there. We cannot run, a country cannot be run like that, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope these cabinet secretaries who are being approved in this house today will not behave in the same manner. Because, when that becomes now the modus operandi, Mr. Speaker, we will not have a cabinet. We don't need to waste our time in this house approving people who are going to defy the same government they want to go and serve. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that kind of manners should not be allowed in any society. Because you must be somebody who stands for something. If you strongly feel that what's happening is wrong, leave. People in mature democracies, they live even over something smaller than this. So, Mr. Speaker, coming back to the point, is that I want to say these 3 gentlemen, Mr. Speaker, whom we are approving today, are not also going to represent certain regions. Cabinet secretaries are appointed to serve the Republic of Kenya. Every Kenyan, Mr. Speaker, deserve their service, Mr. Speaker. If you are going to behave like the way people we have impeached, and then start talking about, you come to my constituency and you bring me salam from your home, I will just chase you away. Mr. Speaker, dismissal of cabinet secretaries is not only the prerogative of the president. This house has constitutional mandate also to dismiss cabinet secretaries, the way we are approving them. So if you behave in a very tribalistic manner, you behave in an awkward manner, then nothing stops us from filing an impeachment motion and removing you from office, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you believed the people you are saying abducted your son, and the Kenyans, and you took 7 months, Mr. Speaker, to tell Kenyans what happened, who will believe you now? Because, 7 months is a long period of time. I'm sorry to say, I called a police officer, under the privilege of the house. I was told people are arrested over many things. You can be arrested because you are dealing in drugs, you are dealing in money laundering. You can be arrested in many things. Arresting is not abduction. We have to condemn abduction, but we cannot condemn arresting. Yeah, police officers are paid, they earn salaries so that they can arrest people. That's their work. If I break the law today, they will arrest me. But we must condemn abduction, but we cannot condemn arrest. Arrests are legal. They are legal in our laws for a policeman to arrest me and to arrest anybody else. Mr. Speaker, so I want to emphasize on the issue that cabinet secretaries must serve all Kenyans. If you want to serve your village, go and become an MCA. Don't become a minister or a chief. Like the way I see now, there's a senior chief now who's meeting people in Wamunyoro. Every day they are meeting there. You are now just local chief there, just meeting people there. You expect me to travel all the way from Nairobi to go and meet somebody in that village? What is the name of that village? Wamunyoro. I can't go, Mr. Speaker. So if you want to be like that, just go to your village. But if you want to serve Kenyans, if your desire is to serve Kenyans as a cabinet secretary, then serve all Kenyans, irrespective of their region, irrespective of their community, irrespective of their service, of religion.
Yes, member for Madira. Junet, do you want to be informed?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to...
from somebody from Wamunyoro village, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. I want to inform Honorable Junet that Wamunyoro is a very good village in Madera constituency. And in that village there is a chief who is a very good man who serves people, all the people in dignity. It is only one man, disgruntled, who is meeting people with long beards who don't know where they are going. So let's not discuss Wamunyoro. Wamunyoro is a good village. It's only one man who don't know where he is going or where he is coming from, who is disgruntled and he doesn't know where he is going or coming from. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Member of Parliament for Madeira for informing me that Wamunyoro is a very good place. You know, I have not visited Wamunyoro yet. I need to pay a courtesy call to him so that I can see how good Wamunyoro is, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, why am I using Wamunyoro as an example? Mr. Speaker, I cannot travel from a place called Migori in Wothorumo or Wothogik all the way to Wamunyoro so that I can get government services. I must get government services nationally. The minister must come to my place in Gorjope so that he can serve me in Gorjope, not me to go to Wamunyoro, Mr. Speaker. That is why we retired someone to Wamunyoro. And I'm sending a warning to the cabinet secretaries that if you take the behavior of Wamunyoro, if you want to serve only Wamunyoro people, we will sack you. We will impeach you. You must serve all Kenyans. And if you want to serve only your local people, become an MCA. That's where local people, the ward where people are served, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, there are people who think they have become cabinet secretary to serve their region, or to serve their community, or to serve their tribesmen. No. Cabinet secretary is a national position. If you want to remain as a CS, you must remain national, Mr. Speaker. And I know these three whom we are approving today, they are experienced. These are people, these are national leaders who have served all kinds of Kenyans, because you know Nakuru, almost every community of this country lives in Nakuru. Even in Kiambu nowadays, because it's becoming an extension of Nairobi, many communities stay in Kiambu, Mr. Speaker. These are the kind of leaders we want to have in cabinet. And let me congratulate the president, Mr. Speaker, because in terms of diversity, I don't think there's a president who has gotten it right more than President Ruto, Mr. Speaker. Very few communities now are not on the table of the cabinet, Mr. Speaker. All communities are almost there, Mr. Speaker. Anywhere, any county of almost has a representative now in the cabinet, or in the executive for that matter. That is the kind of country we want to build. That is why ODM has sent experts to the broad-based. And we have more experts to send, Mr. Speaker. That's why we want to send more experts to government so that diversity can be felt, that diversity can be achieved. But the ones who want to retire to their village in Kanyambora. Those ones should let Kenyans do other things, Mr. Speaker. If you want to become the chief of Kanyambora, just go and become the chief of Kanyambora. Don't bring issues here. Oh, so-and-so abducted my son, so-and-so did. No. Just go and, that will be another Munyoro Center. Just go to Kanyambora Center and stay there, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Order, take your seat, Owen. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 12, which is that, taking into consideration the findings of the Committee on Appointments in its fourth report on the vetting of the nominees for appointment as Cabinet Secretaries, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 16th January 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 152(2) of the Constitution and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of the following persons as Cabinet Secretaries: